Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Giants, guys. This is John Fennelly. Today, again, I have Craig Santucci of NY Giants Rush with me. And we have a special guest on the phone. He is known on Twitter as @EverythingNYG, Rob Nouse. Rob, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing, man? Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show.
And Rob, if you didn't come on the show, we were going to roast you all day. So we're glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here, man. I'm glad we can make it work.
Yeah, we've been following you on Twitter for a while, and you seem to have a pretty good following there, and you guys have some open discourse and some very fresh ideas about, the NFL and the Giants. So we wanted to have you on because, Craig and I are older guys, and, we get a little stale once in a while. Although I've been out of the box the last couple of days, I've been completely out of the box with trade rumors and everything else.
Right.
Who are you calling stale over there?
All right, I'm stale. All right.
There you go.
I got to, I just turned 58 and I got to dust myself off here. So, Dwayne Haskins is speaking now or in the next few minutes. I'm going to miss that because I really don't care.
Yeah, me neither. I can keep him.
I'm not, he's at the combine. I will watch it later on. I've already seen him, speak and answer questions and stuff. I think he's a pretty polished kid, but we'll get into that in a second. Rob, let's get back to you. What possessed you to start this Twitter feed @EverythingNYG?
Yeah, man. It's just been me since I started it in 2015. I've never brought anybody else on. It's always been my takes, and nothing really possessed it. It was just I wanted something to get a little bit involved with the fans and with the community. When I started it, I really was just purely a fan of the team. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have anything. And, I just started it for fun. And it just started growing and growing and growing. And people started looking at me like a source. And now I've picked that up. So it's been a crazy ride. And I'm shocked at, what it is today. So.
Right. Now, you're a college student. Are you
correct
studying journalism at all?
I'm actually in sports marketing and development. Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of that kind of bleeds together in the end, right?
Exactly. A lot of my writing, I used to write for a lot of companies. I'm looking to get back into that. It's just been, it's all a part of my, my path here.
Very cool. And what led you to do a Giants specific? I mean, you're not in New York, but
right.
What led you to do a Giants specific feed?
Right. Yeah. I mean, my family is all from New York. I'm the only one that's not. And so I was raised, wearing Giants shirts, and I've loved the team ever since. And, I grew up, obviously I have different opinions now if you follow me, but I'm not a big fan of Eli Manning. But I grew up playing football. I wore number 10 for him. I have a cat named Eli. I grew up all bleed blue, man. I've been to New York so many times. And, so it's been my team since birth, man.
Well, that's great. We have a couple of takes ourselves here. Craig is a former football player,
right.
And I've been working in the New York media for I would say the last 20 years. What year is it? 20? Yeah, since 1999.
19.
So it's 20. Yeah,
19.
So so it's 20 years or so. I work with NBC, SNY. Now I'm working with USA Today. I write for the Giant Insider, which is the only print magazine dedicated to the Giants. You could buy that in supermarkets. I went to the supermarket the other day and they had it there. I couldn't believe it. And then I picked it up.
You're part of something special.
Yeah,
there you go.
I can't believe we're still doing print, but that's for another conversation. Craig's website is nygiantsrush.com, and they have some really great ideas. They're on the fringe, right, Craig?
Well, that's because, I was a featured columnist for Bleacher Report for all those years, and all the really fun stuff we wanted to do, they wouldn't let us do.
I don't even mention Bleacher Report on my resume, and I was one of the guys who helped them launch that.
Yep.
If you remember.
Oh no, I remember, and I remember they were looking for talented people who knew the verticals on different teams, but as soon as Turner bought it, everything changed. So, I mean, NY Giants Rush started because I didn't need Bleacher Report to have 10,000 people read what I'm writing.
I know. They actually took a lot of my advice, and then of course I dropped off, and I began to work for other entities. But I actually sat in meetings with investors with these guys. A lot of people don't even know that. I mean, they only had round one funding when I was on board with them. And I went through a round two meeting with an investor, and what they really wanted to know was reader engagement. How do you get readers engaged?
Yeah,
they didn't know how to do any of that. These were Silicon Valley kids who got some seed money and decided that this was a good idea. It ends up being a real good idea, obviously.
Yes, well, especially when Turner buys it, it's a great idea, right?
Yeah, only one of the guys of the five are left, as far as I know. I'm sorry, Rob. We got off topic again.
Don't be sorry, man. I like hearing it. It's interesting. I love Bleacher Report. I've been featured on them a few times, so
yeah,
I'm more than interested.
They kind of sold out. They went from an organic idea to commercial real fast.
Well, now everything is a slideshow.
Oh God!
Everything's a slideshow.
Hey, I can't knock it because we do it at USA Today. I mean, it generates hits. So what are you going to do?
Yeah,
it's a traffic builder.
Well, let's segue that. Well, all that great work we've done for the New York Giants football team. Let's segue into
why don't
what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
Number one. Yesterday's topic was Landon Collins may not be applied to get the franchise tag applied to him. Okay, and we talked about that last show rather. Wow, I'm way off today. Because of the shoulder, right?
Right.
Okay.
Did that change today?
I think that they're saying that he has to be tagged by the 5th. It's the 1st. What are they waiting for?
Yeah.
Are they waiting for other shoes to drop? Like if they could trade Vernon, that's not going to happen. No team is insane enough to trade for him, but they can get him for nothing if they cut him.
So where's the rumor coming from that OV is going to be traded? Because that would be ideal.
It's coming from everywhere. It was even on Roto World, and they don't print. Roto World has to have 2 verified sources, I think, to print something. So they don't normally print anything that's just rumor based. So it's got to come from a beat pool reporter who's got it from a source. So that's a double bang. So right there. So
Rob, you're a young guy. What's your opinion on Vernon? Because I come from the position as the guy can't finish and he's overpaid. Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan, but so you and I have. Sometimes you and I are in lock and step, and sometimes you and I are completely on the other side of the solar system. What's your take on Vernon?
I think personally, Vernon was a mistake from the jump with the contract. And the main point that I always provide is he's getting paid J.J. Watt money to do what a undrafted free agent can do. And I view him as someone that pats his stats every single year, and he did it again this year against Dallas, 2.5 sacks. And everyone likes to talk about how he generates quarterback pressures. Well, he's being paid top-tier pass rusher money, okay? And you can generate pressures all you want. If you're getting 7 sacks a year and you're getting paid like J.J. Watt, who's getting 20, there's a problem. So I don't like him. I viewed him as a distraction the whole time he's been here. I was at the Pro Bowl. I was dogging him there. I do not like the guy at all. I don't like him. I just really do not think that he's worth the money he gets, even half of it. And I preferred Romeo Okwara. That was my sleeper going into the year. That was a terrible move. And I feel like he should have been gone a while ago. So as far as Vernon goes, I'd unload him for a 6th-round pick, seriously. And I would just get rid of him and move on. He's a part of the reason why we're so top-heavy. And if we can trade someone like Damon Harrison for a 4th, I don't know why he's still here. I really don't.
Yeah, I agree with all of that, but I think the Giants are really looking at the fact that he got hurt 2 years in a row and missed a quarter of a season in each of those last 2 seasons.
He's always hurt.
If you can't make it to the field, your value is going to be diminished.
Exactly, and that's the problem. We should have traded him last year.
Yeah, durability has a lot to do with it.
Well, they save $11 million if they cut him. Right. So if they're looking to grab some cash like today, you cut Vernon. He has very little value, and and we are on the same page, Rob, with everything you just said, because he's getting paid to rush the passer, force fumble, sack the quarterback, hit the quarterback. I don't really give a crap about pressures.
Exactly.
It means very little to me that my star defensive end leads the league in pressures. Well, listen, I can create pressures. I mean, all I need to do is take 3 steps over the line of scrimmage, and I'm pressuring the quarterback. He's being paid to finish. So I don't know what the Giants are waiting for. If they want cash, you're going to eat $8 million. But I mean, 11's bigger than 8, and our $30 million cap goes to $40 million. If they just cut the guy today, and I don't know what they're waiting for now.
Well, hold on a second.
Guy named Eli Manning too.
I don't think they cut him. I think he's like a June 1st guy, no?
Yeah, you might have to wait to the June 1st.
That's why they're trying to trade him.
Yeah, you can trade him, but you can't cut him yet. Yeah.
So they don't want to cut him. They're going to end up cutting him if they can't trade him. I think that's going to be the outcome here.
Yeah, they're trying to save some face and grab some value.
But they can't really release him, I don't believe, until June 1st. I have to look that up.
Who's going to trade for this guy?
Nobody. But hey, you never know.
You'd be surprised, man. Look at it. Look at what happened to us. When you're desperate and you're in a desperate position, you'll pay and you'll go for what's there. And that's what we did with Vernon. That's what we did with Eli Apple. That's what we did with Eric Flowers. It's when you need something, you'll reach for the best that's there. That's what they're doing with Dwayne Haskins. And everyone thinks he's the best that's there. And he's not. So that's my issue, is whenever we need something, then they all jump. So I wouldn't be surprised if they can trade him, man. I really wouldn't.
All right, so let's move on to Collins. And a lot of people thought he'd get tagged. So did I. I thought they'd tag him. And then, you could always rescind the tag.
Right. Yeah, Josh Norman.
Yeah, you could always do that. I don't know if that would be fair to Collins to tag him and then rescind, because then he'd be a free agent with limited options, and that's not fair to do to the guy.
Yeah,
I don't think, because he's been a good Giant. I mean, he's been a very good Giant, been a good teammate. The fact of the matter is he's a safety who really plays linebacker, as we know. He doesn't really leave the box,
right?
And linebackers need their shoulders. I mean, that's how they make their living. They lean into guys with their shoulders. Right. And if he has a torn labrum, you're looking at him sitting out all of the OTAs and all of the off-season workouts, and probably not, appearing until training camp.
Right.
And the Giants don't want to invest in a player that may or may not, be healthy this season and beyond, and they don't want to wait until August to find out.
Right, and that's what I've been saying too, man. I think that's the biggest problem with the whole situation, is he doesn't understand the fact that times are different right now. You know what I mean? That he's been hurt, and it's a serious injury. It's not a broken finger. And so, of course, they're not going to jump all over a contract with him right now, and it's not like they could during the season because he got hurt at the end of it. And nobody seems to understand that. I know you, like you said, you follow my Twitter, and I go back and forth with people on that all day. Everyone's like, he's been a great Giant over his career. Why are they not just paying him? Well, situations happen, things happen. Life changes. He's not, in my opinion, they shouldn't engage in that right now. I feel like he should be okay with playing a year under the tag and proving himself and going to get paid more. But no, instead he wants to do what he does and threaten a holdout. So it doesn't help.
Well, the holdout doesn't do him any good, because he's not going to appear in a uniform until August anyway.
Exactly. And I think personally, what I tweeted the other day, man, and I'll comment on this real quick and I'll give it back to you. I think the biggest problem with what he's doing right now is I think that he made it really clear he doesn't want the franchise tag. So now he's being dramatic. We all know Landon Collins is dramatic. We all know that. So I think what he's doing is he's trying to make them not use it by showing he doesn't want to, he doesn't want to be here. I think that's what he's doing. That's why he commented with Josina Anderson's post and said, I don't need this stuff anymore. I think he's trying to turn the Giants off on him, if that makes sense, so he can be free come free agency. I think he's doing it on purpose.
Well, teams don't like to use the franchise tag either, because it's guaranteed money the first year for the only the 1 year. And they don't want to have to shell that out. See, if they sign him long term, they can defer signing bonuses and everything else down the road, and the first year salary is like with OBJ, very low and manageable. And then they worry about the cap ramifications down the road. So
I'd like to jump in here.
Go right ahead.
Well, I've got issue with a couple of takes, not your take, but just here's the thing. I think Rob's right where he should play under the tag and prove himself because he's been hurt, with the shoulder and the forearm. But if we're and it comes into play with this Haskins-Murray thing too. If we're not going to replenish the defense and stack the defense, how do you replace a guy who averages 100-plus tackles a year? Like, the defense is literally the bottom of the barrel, absolutely atrocious on defense. They need 6 bodies on defense. And now you're talking about potentially drafting a quarterback and a no third-round pick. Now I'm expecting number 2 and 4 to be a plug-and-play guy. And we know that number 4 is not going to be a plug-and-play guy. So now we're depending on the second-round pick to make a difference on defense. So there's a big snowball effect here on the ball. The game is played on both sides of the ball. If we don't replenish the defense, they're going to lose 12, 13 games again, and they're always going to be playing from behind. So my biggest problem is that yes, he should play under the tag, okay, but the tag hurts the Giants because it's too much money when the Giants don't have a lot of money, and if you let him go, right, then who in the world plays defense? I mean, he averages 8 tackles a game. He missed 4 games. That's 32 tackles that they missed at the end of the season, okay? He could have had 128 tackles if you're averaging it out this year. Who's going to get 128 tackles for the Giants? No one. It's only going to continue to get worse without him. It's just a very hard spot to be in because of the injury.
Right. 100%. 100%.
I just, I don't want to see him go, and I believe the tag is the right move, but it's not the right move towards the salary cap and what flexibility or lack of flexibility the Giants have. I just hate to see him walk out because I don't see how you replace him. Listen, we already know he's not great in coverage. We have already all admitted if he had a free safety alongside him, his game would be better. We already know that he can't play free safety, strong safety, box safety, blitzing DN, and linebacker, which they ask him to do. But it's a really hard spot to be in right now with Collins because you want him, but and if they give him a long-term deal and it doesn't pan out, so somebody really creative has got to put this contract in front of him.
Right, and I think that's what Gettleman's good at. So we'll see, man. I agree with everything you're saying, man. I don't. Like I said, the problem is it's just situational. And I think that a lot of people are having a hard time understanding that. It's look at the way I look at it as you have an opportunity to get, as much as it sucks. I know this guy's proven himself. You can get a brand new car or you can get a brand new car. It's going to run just like the other one, but it's a little bit more cleaned up. Potentially, that's kind of the situation they're in. It's do you want to invest on the one that's a little bit more broken down? Currently, it's situational. At one point, it was perfect. Well, right now it's not. So I don't know if that makes sense of what I'm saying, but we know what he is, and we know how he can run and how he can play. We just don't know if he will. And if we invest this big contract into him, as you said, over time it's going to get worse as far as cap and salary goes. Okay, so it's basically, it just gets worse.
The only issue I have at your analogy is we don't have another car.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
You can find another car. Just like I said with Olivier Vernon, I think we had one in a Romeo Aquara, and they didn't want to do that. So, that's fine. But I'm saying it's easy to find someone that can replace someone, but it's, the production might not be the same, but we might not get much production out of him in general with his injury. So it's so situational right now. So why do you want to sit down and talk $60+ million with him right now?
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's all true. It just, I just find if somebody's really creative, I do feel, and I think that if Collins played for the Patriots or if Collins played for Seattle, they'd figure it out. This wouldn't be a problem. They would figure it out because they would put, incentives in there. They would put escalators in there. They would do everything to make the guy happy. Where when the Giants, we're known for letting players walk out the door after 4 years. We don't renew anybody.
Right.
Right. So it's just a real tough situation because it'd be great to bring him back on the cheap and let the escalators kick in with incentives. I just, again, if we're drafting Haskins or Murray or Williams.
Jones?
Yeah, or the tackle from Alabama, Jonah Williams. If we're drafting an offensive guy and you let Collins go, I'm sorry, you're not replacing Collins.
No, it doesn't make sense. No, I agree with that 100%.
So now again,
tough situation.
You're down 100+ tackles, and you saw how bad they are without him. Like the defense literally lost 4 games without him.
It's trash. Yeah, it's terrible.
So it's a hard spot to be in.
That's terrible. It's terrible. Same thing that Gettleman went through with Josh Norman, and when they were in the Super Bowl, and then they got rid of him. I mean, I hate Josh Norman, but I'm just saying it's the same situation.
If you're a Giant fan, everybody hates Josh Norman.
Oh yeah, no, he's trash.
Well,
you get my point.
Let me just make this point about Collins. I'm sorry. If he can't play like Landon Collins, then what good is he?
I agree. That's what I'm with you on that.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying,
so,
and we don't know.
They're going to play it cautiously here, and like I said, if they haven't tagged him by now, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So they're willing to take their chances by letting him walk, but you can still bid on him in free agency. The thing is that you're not going to lock it. I believe the franchise tag for safety this year, the price is $13 million for one season,
which is way too high.
12.8. Yep.
Yeah. So if you look at the top paid safeties in the league, it's not.
I meant in general, theoretically, you shouldn't have to pay $13 million for a safety, but I got you.
But it's guaranteed money. It's just not cap hit. So you're going to have to actually pay it to him.
That's what I don't understand. That's what I've never understood about the whole not wanting to play, like the Le'Veon Bell situation. Dude, I get what you're saying as far as long term, but if someone's saying, hey, even if you break your foot in the preseason, you're getting this money, isn't that attractive? I don't really understand that. I've never understood the players' mentality on that.
Because if they sign a longer term deal, they'll get more guaranteed money.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, but you know what I'm saying?
It's all about the money. It's all about the money. Except for when we talk about Nick Foles, which is our next subject.
Nick Foles.
And my favorite subject, because I think it's fascinating. People think Nick Foles is going to go to Jacksonville, and I'm thinking, no way is he going to Jacksonville.
Really? See, I think the opposite.
Nick Foles and Pat Shurmur are like this.
No, yeah.
He made Nick Foles.
Right.
Okay, and Nick Foles has said repeatedly, for him, it's not about the money. And we talked about this, Craig. The guy's a nutball. It's not about the money.
Yeah, well, because he's a different type of cat. So I'm Rob. Just so you know, I'm right outside of Philadelphia. So and I worked for CBS Sports for years with all the Eagles media and Eagles players. Over the years, I've been friends with Eagles players. So, Nick Foles is an odd cat. I mean, he's down here. Everybody loves him, and he's willing. I mean, I've told John this numerous times. He's willing to retire and become a preacher. He's not motivated by money, Super Bowls, endorsements. He's just not that guy. He's like really happy with what he's done, where he's at. This cat could walk away from all of it and not really care. And it's not a facade. It's really him.
No, I love it. I think it's great.
It's
really great.
I'm going to say what I wrote today in USA Today, and everybody thinks I'm out of my mind. The Giants should trade Beckham. They should trade him. They're not going anywhere. The old Mickey Mantle argument, or Ralph Kiner argument. You finish last with me, you finish last without me. They need capital. Okay? They need the cap space, and they need the picks.
Wait a minute.
What?
Hold on.
What?
You mean this year trade him?
Right now. And Glazer believes it's going to happen.
Why trade? Okay, like on that kind of stuff. But why Beckham? Why not trade Ingram then?
Nope. No. I'll tell you why.
All right, I'm listening.
Beckham will get you 2 number 1 picks, or a number 1, a number 2, and other picks. Right? He should. And what happens there is you slide Ingram out to wide receiver, and you draft probably my favorite player in this draft is the kid Hawkinson, the tight end from Iowa. Now, I watched this guy, George Kittle, who comes from Iowa, just tear up the NFL this year. I've watched Kelsey go uncovered every play. And even when he's covered, he catches the ball. Zach Ertz, 100-something catches. All right? So Ingram is just as fast as Beckham. They run 4.40s, both of them. Ingram's a bigger player, okay? He has a lot less drama attached to him, and he's a lot cheaper.
He drops the ball a lot, too.
Well, hold on. he didn't last year.
The second half of the season. Come on now.
They didn't throw the ball to him enough for you to say that.
He led the league in drops.
That was 2 years ago. Okay, so I think he solved that problem.
Was it this year he led the league in drop or last year?
No, 17.
He did last year, but he was number 3 this year.
I don't know about that. I didn't see that.
I think he was. Check me on that.
But anyway, their passing game, okay, is Barkley, okay, Shepard, and I loved what I saw out of Cody Latimer when he was healthy.
Ellison chipped in too.
Okay, Ellison's a blocker, and that's why they signed him. Okay, he's probably going to take a pay cut. If you can get this kid Hawkinson, if you could have a Travis Kelce on your offense, why wouldn't you take him?
Yeah, well, he becomes your number 2.
Well, he could actually become your number 1. Look in Philadelphia with Ertz.
If that's your offense, like Ertz, like Kelce, I got you. I'm with you.
Okay, and you have Ingram still out there. He's going to it's going to be 3 eyeballs on him because no one cornerback's going to want to take him on, right?
I hear you.
You still have Shepard. You have Latimer. You draft yourself another wide receiver. You got plenty of picks. There's plenty of wide receivers in the mid to late rounds you could take. All right, we know that. You can live with a Benny Fowler or even a Corey Coleman.
I can't live with any of these guys. Come on.
As a 4th or 5th receiver?
What happened to you from last week to this week?
Hold on. Okay, Barkley is your guy. He's your offense.
Well, I know. I'm with you.
Okay, and this guy Hutchinson, I'll tell you what. I like it. Now, part 2 of that, do the Giants have the balls to cut Eli Manning and sign Nick Foles?
No, hell no.
Why not?
Because they don't.
I've seen 15 seasons of Eli Manning. I've seen enough.
I've been saying this stuff since 14. I can't stand Eli Manning as a player anymore, but they will not do it. I promise you they won't do it.
It's enough. I've seen enough already, okay? It's just like somebody runs for governor 3 times, like Bloomberg ran for mayor here 3 times. Enough is enough. Go away. It's time for a change. I
agree with you, and like it's funny because I do. Listen, they did it to Phil Simms. Mara let it happen to Phil Simms. I think he can let it happen to Eli too. I can see that because
they don't want to do it. I know they don't want to do it.
Yeah, they don't.
I'm asking you guys. I already know they're not going to do it.
Well, listen, Rob, you're a young guy. And, you like the athleticism and you like what Haskins and Murray bring to the table. I think you lean more Murray than Haskins, if I remember correctly.
I don't like Haskins.
But here's the thing, and I think you and I have gone around and around it a couple times. Like, my issue is I could see them, John, from a structural standpoint, getting rid of Eli. But here's the thing. Nick Foles is going to cost you more than Eli.
I know, but you're going to have him for a longer period of time.
I'm with you, but what you want to do is so not even close to what they'll do. Like I can see one. Believe it or not, and this is a lot coming from me because I'm with you. Like I'm ready for change, but I also believe that you got to play ball on both sides, and I think it's right now. You have the almost the worst defense in the league, and I don't think you can compete.
But you're going to get picks if you trade Beckham.
Yeah, I got it. I don't see that happening. But you've gone to the extreme of trading with the best player on the team. You could still amount a little bit of momentum if you're going to trade someone. There's nothing wrong with trading Ingram. He's a square peg in a round hole here.
You're not going to get a lot for him.
But he was a first-round pick.
Yeah, but you're not going to get more than a third, if that.
You're not going to get you're not going to get a lot for him.
Yeah, well, you'll get a third.
How many picks we got this year?
10.
You got 10, but you don't have a third rounder.
And if I get rid of Ingram and I get a third, or I get a second, and package it up, I don't know. Like there's got to be a better way than gutting the team. Like there's whether it's Eli or it's Beckham, but both is never going to happen. And two, I mean, I like Foles. I don't think you're going like the Eli haters or the people who want to move in. You're not getting that much different of a quarterback in Foles. He's very calm. He doesn't scramble very well. I mean, you're really looking at the same QB all over. I think people that want Eli out so bad is they want this like ultra exciting electric quarterback. They want Aaron Rodgers or they want Russell Wilson, Baker Mayfield. They want that guy. So they just want – yeah, there you go. So they don't even care if it's Haskins or Murray. They just want something different than Eli. Well, if you go get Foles, he's no different than Eli.
The way things are lining up, the Giants have no shot at Murray.
Unfortunately, yeah, and that's what sucks, man. Have you all been following me since last year on Giants Rush? Yeah, you saw how I felt about Baker Mayfield, right? And how much I loved him before everyone jumped on.
Oh, I ate crow.
Mm-hmm. So, and then he went number 1 overall. Look, if there's one thing I scout very diligently and very well, I'll give myself it, is quarterbacks. And I was on Kyler Murray. Everyone said he'd be a second-round pick once again. And bang, now he's potentially number 1 overall. It's the same situation, man.
It's not.
It sucks.
It's not.
It sucks.
The reason why I'll tell you it's not, and that's why we have you on, because we like the different perspectives, and I'm glad that you're bringing that passion to the table. And I guarantee you, John will fall in line with this because we've seen this happen so many times. You have to understand, and I know you already do. You're a smart cat, but for anyone listening to the Giants guys, it's definitely a unique situation because A, you're not going to find another Baker Mayfield because Baker Mayfield has been bucking the system since he was 16 years old. They told him he couldn't start in high school. He did. They told him he couldn't walk on to a college team. He did. They told him he couldn't get a scholarship. He did. They told him he couldn't win the Heisman. He did. They told him he wouldn't be the first-round draft pick, and he was. Murray has none of that. None of it. Okay? So I'm not saying that Murray's not a stud athletic kid, but and again, you can hate on Cowherd, but his point is really important. Russell Wilson lost 20 pounds to compete at the combine to run. Murray is gaining weight to compete to show everyone, look how big I am, look how strong I am. Yeah. I mean, listen, if he plays at 190 and he plays at height isn't overly a big deal for me, but slight frame guys like Johnny Manziel or RG3, they take a pounding regardless of how they slide or don't slide. Remember, there are only 1,800 people, Rob, in the NFL. It's the most elite job on the planet. And then you talk about 64 quarterbacks. It's the most elite job on the planet. Okay?
I agree.
So all I say about Murray is that you can't wish for another Baker Mayfield because Baker Mayfield has been saying F you to the system since he was 16. Murray's definitely going to help a team out. I'm just not so sure that he's going to have longevity at 190 pounds.
Well, can I jump in on that real quick?
Yeah, please do.
So basically what I'm saying, and I want to clarify, I hear everything you're saying. When I say it's the same situation, I do not mean the same player. I don't know. I guess I said that wrong. I mean, trust me, Baker Mayfield is I met the guy. I know the guy. I love Baker Mayfield, and there will never be another Baker Mayfield to ever step in the NFL. Hands down, I'm with that. So when I say it's the same situation, I don't mean player-wise. I mean as far as the situation goes. Last year we weren't looking at quarterback. I get it. But as far as, well, you can say that. But as far as what I'm saying goes is it's the same situation where this guy was supposed to go late. We would have had a chance at him, and now it's the same thing where we'd have to move up or he'd go before us. That's what I mean by that. Not that they're the same player, not that they're the same person, none of that. I just mean the Giants always find a way to put themselves in a situation, even if they don't want to, where even if they want this guy, there's other teams that catch on before they do. And that's what I mean by that, is they're not the same player. It's just the same situation. It's way too nostalgic. It's like last year, everyone was telling me Baker Mayfield's second, third round pick. I literally had people tell me third round pick.
Yeah, those are people who don't get it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You're telling me that a year out, right?
You're smart enough not to fall for that. like I said, like my thing about Baker is, like I mentioned, like his track record speaks for itself. Murray doesn't really have a track record. It's really hard to say.
It's bad.
Yeah. So now we got to analyze. Okay, and John, you're a little bit better at this than I am. Who's going to move up for him? The only guy, and I don't know, and this might be a little
Move
bit.
up for who?
Kyler Murray.
Nobody's going to have to because Arizona's going to take him.
Well,
they're going to trade Rosen and take him.
Okay,
which
Cliff Kingsbury is the guy who coached which quarterbacks in the NFL?
He had like 3 of them.
Well, he had Davis Webb at one time.
Yep.
We don't count him, but he is in the NFL.
Funny.
Mahomes, Mayfield, Keenum, Manziel.
He's a great coach.
So where's Rosen going to go?
Rosen will go to whoever wants him. Oakland, whoever. New England, yeah, who cares?
Denver.
He's not coming here. I don't think they want him.
Okay, that's my next question. Why don't they like you want to talk about saving money? Why get Foles when you could bring Rosen in and move out Eli?
Rosen would get eaten alive in New York. Eaten alive.
I'd be shocked.
He would last a year.
I don't think he's physically or mentally fit for New York.
Nah, hell no. He would be eaten alive. It would be bad. And the Giants, that's one thing I don't like, but they do is they account everything into the people they bring in as far as what's your GPA. If you ever stole a pack of gum in 8th grade, whatever. And they know, stay far away from Josh Rosen, the kid from California that's got everything gifted to him in his entire life. Don't take him. Don't take him. He didn't earn – you know what I'm trying to say? It's not like Baker Mayfield. Like, do not bring in Josh Rosen. Do not. And they won't.
Well, I you know what? I'll tell you what. Rosen has talent. But like you said, he just would not be a fit here. Now, we're already 35 minutes into the show, so let me get on to a few other things, all right? Dwayne Haskins at number 6. Do we take him or not, Rob?
You're asking me? Do I think we'll take them or do I think we should?
Both.
Do I think they'd take him? Yes. Do I think we should? No. Okay. I've made it clear I'm not a fan of Dwayne Haskins, and I think my best way of putting this, and this is how I've stressed this, and I'm not saying this to be like, oh, I'm right. This is just my opinion. I have watched several franchise quarterbacks over these last few years when we should have grabbed them, slip through the seams, and we've got someone else like Eric Flowers or Eli Apple or Evan Ingram even. So when you see your franchise guy, you trade up with everything you have to get him. And at this point, we could have already done it. We could have had all of our picks back. So the way I look at this situation this year is everyone's looking at Dwayne Haskins like he's Jesus Christ because a lot of people joined the bandwagon that Eli Manning's done.
Without doing the
Dwayne
research.
Haskins is the best one. Yeah, and they're like, oh, Dwayne Haskins is the top quarterback in the class. We need him. We must have him. We must have him. So even if it was Johnny Manziel this year as the top quarterback, they would still jump on him like he's the reincarnation of Jesus Christ just because they think it's the top need. And it's just like what happened with Olivier Vernon. That's how I look at this. That's my problem.
Yeah, I like Haskins, but if they trade down and take him at 15 or 16, I can live with that and get a couple of picks. That would be great.
Yeah, but it won't happen. I think somebody's going to jump us. I think this is going to be one of the most interesting drafts. I mean, if you're right that Kyler Murray goes 1, then a team's going to get nervous that didn't get him, right? And they're going to jump us to get Dwayne Haskins. I'm telling you, somebody will trade up with the Jets. Don't know who it'll be yet. But Dwayne Haskins and Kyler Murray will likely both be gone by 6. If I'm wrong, please let me eat crow on this. But I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure.
The one thing I don't want to see is the Giants trading up to get either one of those players.
Yeah, I can't see that. I think the Giants will stay put, and I'm with I'm with both of you on this. I think we go defense in this draft. I think we should. I've had a Devin White vibe for a while. Josh Allen, I love him. We won't get him, but I love Josh Allen. And if Nick Bosa doesn't go 1 overall, this whole draft's going to shake up. Because then Nick Bosa will go 2, and then the Jets will have Josh Allen sitting at them, and then a team will really want to trade.
They won't let Josh Allen go, the Jets.
All right, I'm going to throw a wild card in here. If you've got which completely disturbs me at every angle, Kyler Murray going number 1. I really just want to stick an ice pick in my eye socket. But if he goes 1 and everything starts to slide a little bit, the Jets need linemen, something fierce, to protect their franchise quarterback. I don't see them picking Allen, especially you've got an offensive coach now.
Well, they need a pass rush too. So
They do, but it's just like the Giants. We need pass rush too, but we're talking about getting a quarterback. They already have a quarterback, and their line stinks. Darnold's going to get abused. The Jets are going to take a tackle. They're going to take
but not in 3.
Yep,
there's no tackle worth that third pick. They'd have to trade
they're
back.
not going to go at 3.
But that's like telling me Kyle Murray's worth the first-round pick. And
But he is for a team like Arizona because they're a dead franchise right now.
Yeah. Yeah, they need a spark, and that's what just the same thing like Baker Mayfield. They saw that he had a spark, and he brought it. I think Dorsey's an incredible GM. I think he is a great GM, and I think he's doing everything right. He's bringing in dogs, like the Jets said. Yeah. And I don't. That's why I just said earlier, if Josh Allen is sitting there at 3, the Jets will trade back. And that's why I said I can see this draft going Kyler Murray, Nick Bosa, and then a whack random trade at 3 for Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And then at 4, I don't even know.
Well, San Francisco probably won't keep their pick. They don't really need a quarterback.
Yeah, they'll probably move too. This is going to be a fun draft, and I'm going to be there, so I can't wait for it. But it's going to be pretty nuts.
Where is it? Chicago this year? Where is it?
Tennessee.
It's in Nashville, yeah.
All right, so that's not too far from you.
So
it's not too far.
Getting back to Arizona and why they will take Murray is because Cliff Kingsbury, that's his type of quarterback. Arizona's a dead franchise. Look at the teams they have to play in their division. San Francisco, an up-and-coming team. The Rams, the NFC champions. Seattle.
Facts, yeah.
Okay, they're looking at last place unless they do something radical.
I agree. No, I'm with you 100%, man. I still can't wrap my head around seeing that happen, but I'm not ruling it out. Like, I'm not calling you crazy. I don't know, man. I don't see it happening.
Well, it wasn't my idea. I mean, there's about 4 or 5 people that I respect that are telling me, Arizona might be leaning on Kyler Murray.
They're all insane.
Yeah, right. I've heard it too.
These guys have 1 year of college experience. It's like, I'm sorry, 98% of the quarterbacks in the league have more than 1 year experience. Yeah. You're going to give the keys to the kingdom to a kid's got some high school tape and 1 year of college football. It's insane. I mean, here's my $1 billion franchise. I'm going to give it to a guy who literally, had 13, 14 starts.
Well, you're talking about Haskins. I mean, he's not going to play in year one. That's another problem for me because you're taking the 6th pick in the draft and sitting him for a whole year. You wasted a year.
He needs touches.
No, but the 6th player in the draft, who was the 6th player in the draft last year? Quentin Nelson, Pro Bowl, all pro, not just Pro Bowl. The year before, Jamal Adams, 2 guys who walked on and produced Jump Street.
Yeah, and you're going to sit this kid.
And you're going to take the 6th pick and sit him behind Eli Manning for a year or whatever, and he's not going to play, and it's a wasted year. So
by the way,
so if you're going to do that, why not trade everybody else away?
Well,
why waste everybody's time?
Can I throw something in real quick? Here's my issue. Just real quick. I want to see how you guys feel about it. This is another problem. Say the Giants really did want to cut Eli Manning, which, again, they will not do. But the problem is if they do mess around and say they cut him because they were a capable franchise and they cut Eli Manning, what that tells everyone in this draft is that the Giants are going quarterback if they don't pick one up in free agency. So that might be a piece of it too, but it's an $18 million piece. So we're literally playing chess with ourselves.
Well, it's going to come in stages, Rob, because on the 17th, they owe Manning a $5 million roster bonus. Now, if they're going to cut him, they'd have to do it before that.
Right.
Okay. If he passes the 17th and collects the bonus, he's here. That's it. He's on the team.
I got also to your 13, 14 game starter is going to get obliterated his first year with a pretty good offensive line, but not great offensive line. And he doesn't have the experience.
He's not as mobile as people think he is.
He's not mobile at all.
He's a pocket passer. He's Jameis Winston, but a nicer kid.
It reminds me a little bit of Roethlisberger too.
Well, he's not as big as Ben Roethlisberger.
No, he's got that same type of flow.
No, I get that vibe too. I'm with that.
I just don't want to see some kid with 14 games experience in high school running the Giants behind that line.
Well, he's not going to play, Craig. He's not going to play if they draft him.
I meant if they cut Eli.
They can't cut Eli and draft him and expect him to play. It's not going to work. If they draft Haskins, they'd have to keep Eli. He's got to play behind Eli. That's the Kansas City model that Gettleman keeps talking about. I think he's blowing smoke at people because Gettleman, if you look at his track record, he's a hatchet man. He's ready to cut everybody. That's why all the players in Carolina hated him. He had no loyalty. Well, once you were done, with the exception of Jonathan Stewart, as we've learned, once you were done on the field, he got rid of you. Steve Smith, some of these other. Oh, Gettleman's not a man of his word. You were done. That's why he got rid of you.
Don't be surprised. I mean, and I'm not saying that I like this move, but I'm saying is do not be shocked or surprised that in the second round he takes a Locke or Daniel Jones. Don't be surprised
Those
that
guys aren't making it to the second round.
Daniel Jones?
No. Daniel Jones is going to go top 15. Yeah, top 20.
Drew Lock, if Denver sees either one of those guys, they're taking him.
Drew Lock's a bust. I'm going to tell you all that right now. Drew Lock's a bust. Bust.
I don't know.
No, straight up, he's a bust.
He's like who's the guy that Elway took a couple years ago out of Kansas State or whatever he was?
Not Simeon?
Paxton Lynch.
Lynch, yeah, that's what he is. Yeah. No, he's probably better than him, but no, Locke has a proven track record, but he doesn't have the 21st century skills. Am I wrong? He's not a guy that's going to change the game. He's the kind of guy you got to build around.
No, man.
He's compared to Eli Manning mentally as well, by the way. People call him Eli Manning because he's awkward and nerdy. So, if you want that.
He's going to play in this league somewhere.
Yeah. I just wouldn't be – I'm just mentioning it, whether it's second round or it's trading back. I wouldn't – everybody just already has the Giants taking Haskins, and I don't think Gettleman's a go with the flow guy. I mean, I could totally see him taking Daniel Jones. I could just see it. I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying I could see it.
Well, there's a few things to like about Daniel Jones. Okay, he won the Senior Bowl MVP, and the Giants drafted the last two Senior Bowl MVPs. Okay, neither one of them has panned out thus far, and Davis Webb and Kyle Lauletta. But Jones is a very good passer. He's smart. He played under David Cutcliffe at Duke. He understands the game. He'll understand everything that Pat Shurmur will give him to do. He's the kind of guy who can play as a rookie if you draft him. He's big enough. The only problem I have is, we've had a Duke quarterback here at one time, and that did not work out. And Rob, you were too young for that.
No, I know what you mean, though. No, I was a little bit too young, but I know our history. You know what I mean? So
he was terrible.
But he was a nice guy.
He was still terrible.
And he had Dan Reeves as a coach, and Dan Reeves, was a very good coach in my opinion in this league. Wasn't a great coach, but a very good coach. And the Giants didn't have much around him, but he couldn't do anything to help himself. So. He was an average player, and they blew a number one pick on him. And
well, what's the rap on Jones? He's not very accurate. He's got a
there is no rap on Jones.
No, there is none. Yeah, that's the problem. This is the issue, and like I said, to reiterate my point earlier, is I think this is a weaker quarterback class. Like next year is going to be insane, and I think people are reaching at straws right now. They're looking at Daniel Jones like a top 15 pick because that's what's there. But if he was in there next year, he would go in the third round. So that's what's bothering me about this draft is how everyone's reaching because they're finally done with Eli Manning.
Can't we just? I would do anything to trade everything and just get Fromm or Herbert and just be done with this thing. But it's
why do you like Fromm so much?
I love Fromm. I
like Fromm for a gazillion reasons.
There you go, my guy.
I think he's a good player. I mean, he could have come out this year. No.
I love him. Yeah, he could. Yeah.
No, he
could have or he couldn't have.
No, he started as a true freshman.
Oh, okay.
And I will tell you, just from a little bit of experience, do you know how hard it is to start at 18 years old. I mean, he's starting at a humongous, big-time college Division I program at 18 years old. And anyone, and you can blow it off all you want, because then anyone who blows that off has no idea what college sports is about. That is amazing. It's a lot of pressure, and it says a lot about a kid who just walks in and plays huge bowl games at 18 years old.
Alabama. Right?
Yeah, I mean, come on. So to the fact that, listen, I know a lot of 18-year-old kids, they're morons, okay?
I know a lot of 58-year-old kids that are morons, too.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Rob, you're in school. You probably got a ton of, guys that are 18 years old, and there's not one of them you could look at and go, yeah, I trust him with my college program at 18.
No, yeah, man, dude, I'm not even in my 20s.
Yeah.
So I wholeheartedly understand and agree with that. And, like I said, too, I think for me, a lot of people don't value it. But I think the biggest thing, especially being a North Carolinian, I really, really like people that are down to earth. They're very, they're leaders on and off the field. They're respectable people, and they're not egotistical. And that's why I love Carson Wentz so much, is because to be a quarterback, in my opinion, it's more than just what you put on the field. It's also the type of way that people look at you, and it's how you are just as a family man. It's a quarterback. You're the leader of people that are, as you said, the most elite sport, the most elite job in the world, and you have to lead them all.
Did I just hear you say that you like Carson Wentz so much?
I love Carson Wentz. Yeah, I love him. I think that, I don't like the team he plays for, but as a person and as a player, I absolutely love Carson Wentz. Yeah, huge fan. Huge fan.
Listen, I told you, I live here. Everybody loves him here, too.
He's an incredible person.
He's a class act, down to earth. Everybody loves him. I'm telling you, John, Fromm would everyone in town would love Fromm. Okay? And just being coached up, everything he's doing it the right way. He's not a flash in the pan.
So why don't we wait for Fromm? Why are we messing with these other guys?
Because you're going to have to suck next year to get him. Because
we're going to suck next year. I got news for you.
Well, you're really going to have to suck.
Now do you see my point of what I've been saying as far as everyone's reaching at him because they think Eli's done? That's my issue. That's my point, is that now we do have to reach in the eyes of everyone. It would be simple to just wait one more year. You know what I mean? But it's like now everyone's like, oh, no, Eli's done now. I'm over him. I'm good. Let's get a quarterback.
If they if they did wait, though, Rob, you can't guarantee. You'd have to make sure you were ready to give up whatever it took to get Fromm. Because if you're drafting, Fromm's going to go number 1 next year. Number 1.
And that's why I said what I said as far as earlier as well, just to reiterate it, is when you have a franchise quarterback, you give up the world to get him. And if we would have done that a few years ago already, we would have had all of our picks back. That's what I meant by that. You know what I mean? Is we put ourselves in this hole and now we're just digging it. And that's what we're doing. And that's what we've been doing. When we picked Eli Apple and Eric Flowers, there was quarterbacks. Mitchell Trubisky, loved him. Loved Trubisky. Also, Deshaun Watson was there. We missed out on Goff, Carson Wentz. The list goes on of who we missed out on when we could have already got them. But no, nobody was done with Eli Manning yet, right? So there's your problem. There's the issue. There's your number one problem.
There you go. I don't think I've heard anybody, say it so eloquently. I mean, I love Eli Manning, but, I love Lawrence Taylor too, and he's finished also.
I'd love to have Lawrence Taylor back, but you know what? We can't do that. It was time.
I'm just saying. I mean, you got to let go at some point.
Yeah, and they won't let go because they're like, oh my God, he won us our Super Bowls. You can't disrespect him. It's not disrespectful. It's that, dude, you're done. Move out with respect, because look at what Peyton Manning did. He knew he was done. He moved on. But now with Eli Manning, unfortunately for him, and I hate it for him, that when he leaves, it's not going to be like, oh no, it's going to be like a thank God. And he did that to himself.
Actually, I don't think Eli is done. I think he's done for the Giants because of their situation. Yeah, I mean, if he goes, listen, think about it. He's on his worst day. He's still better than Blake Bortles. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, he could still throw the ball. He could, but I'm just saying, if you want to move forward and become a championship caliber team again, you got to have more than a serviceable player at quarterback, and that's what he is at this point.
He's serviceable. There you go. That's the best way of putting it. That's what he is. And he's $18 million serviceable. I wish I was $18 million serviceable. Really. Sign me up. You know what I mean?
I'm in for 9 serviceable. I'll go for 9.
Pay me $100, I'll be serviceable. But no, we have an $18 million bum that can teach our new franchise guy how to fall down without getting hurt. Okay, great.
Please.
Awesome.
All right, I got two more things we got to talk about. Rob, can you stick with us, or you got to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right, Dave Gettleman. Okay, we all know that he's a guy who likes what he likes, and I believe he has a certain level of autonomy on this team where he's going to be allowed to make certain moves. Now, do you think he's going to continue to put his stamp on this team? And what is that stamp going to be? And does it include a complete blow-up? But does he have the authority to make decisions like cutting Eli Manning and trading Odell Beckham without John Mara having a conniption?
You want me to go first? Or
you go first, Rob. Go right ahead.
So this is my biggest issue, and I think I've been saying this, and I think you guys will wholeheartedly agree. I think the biggest problem with the Giants is ownership, and I think that everyone they bring in is basically like a puppet, in my opinion, and they're like, look, if you don't do this the way we like it, and the fans don't like it, we'll fire you. And that's what happened with Ben McAdoo when he made the good choice of moving forward to this franchise, wanting Patrick Mahomes and benching Eli Manning. So with that being said, I think he will continue to put the stamp on, and it's not just his stamp, it's the Giants mentality. It's that we're going to bring you in if you're traditional, if you don't do anything bad when you're in middle school, if you are a nice person, if you're perfect, we'll bring you in. But we'll pass on you if you do something that we don't like, that doesn't fit our standards. But what are our standards these days? Because if you look at the Giants, you just look at us as a losing team right now. There's no more Giants standards. There's no more Big Blue Wrecking Crew. There's no more you're going to play us and you're going to get smashed out by the defense. There's no more the Meadowlands with the wins. There's no more Lawrence Taylor. What's our stamp? And the problem is you can't find a GM that'll change that like John Dorsey because the ownership will not allow it. So with that being said, I can't see him having the ability to put his stamp on it, cutting Eli Manning even if he wanted to. And I feel like he's being puppeted into saying he feels like Eli Manning has several years left. And so is Shermer. Shermer likes Kyler Murray. What does that tell you? He wants a new quarterback that's going to bring a lot of speed, a lot of versatility, and something new. Who does Gettleman like? Dwayne Haskins. They've already said that. They've already pretty much made it clear that Shermer likes Murray and Gettleman likes Haskins. You know why? Because he's trying to live off the mentality of what the ownership and what the Giants want. He can't put his own twist on it. So that's my opinion. Even if we brought in a 20-year-old, not going to happen, a 25-year-old coach and a 25-year-old GM that want nothing but Baker Mayfields and Saquon Barkley's, I still feel like they'd be fired if they cross the lines as far as what they want. They don't have control. That's my opinion. There is no stamp. You can't.
So they're company men all the way. Is that what you're saying?
That's how I view the Giants. Complete and utter company men. And if you come in, you're still going to do exactly what we tell you to, and we're not going to give you the full reins. And that's why they were able to sign some. It doesn't make sense. That's why they're bringing in these old veterans, because they want that. They don't want these new guys that are going to change the team. They don't want to change their mentality. You know what I mean? They don't want to. So that's why Jonathan Stewart, Connor Barwin, and these guys get brought in. I mean, it's how I look at it. They don't want to change. They don't want to. They want to be that traditional franchise that has been around for forever. And they don't want to change it. They don't want to become the Browns and Baker Mayfield. They want to become Eli Manning and the Giants.
I don't know if wanting to be the Browns is anything to be proud of, though. I mean,
but you know what I'm trying to say?
Wanting to be the new version of the Browns. Yeah.
I don't see them wanting to change their mentality. Bring in a new GM who's going to be brand new. Bring in a new quarterback who's going to shake up your whole world. Bring in a defense that's going to be young, star-studded, and just completely different.
I'll jump in there because that's my thing.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So I agree with a lot of what you say, but I do believe that listen, the Maras let Jerry Reese and Mark Ross destroy this team. You're talking about 45 players drafted that are no longer in the NFL. It's an abomination what Jerry Reese and Mark Ross did to this team. So I do feel that Gettleman was like a little bit, because he's completely the opposite of Jerry Reese. Jerry Reese was, hey, I'm ego. I'm the smartest guy in the room. I know I don't have to talk to you guys. And I think Gettleman is old school, like Rob just alluded to. But I also think that he's a guy like old school enough to say, look, you guys got to let me do this. You know, I've worked with great teams, great quarterbacks. I can build this. You got to let me do it. I'm not doing it the Jerry Reese way. You know, and I do think that, you know, they are different people. But I could see if you remember back to the press conference when the season ended, what was that? It was the first week of January or late December. And the first thing he said out of his mouth was, we have no playmakers on defense. So if he wants to make a stamp, like Rob just alluded to, if he wants to put his stamp on this as his team, and I know it's against everybody's wishes, and they're going to say, the Giants guys don't know what they're talking about. Santucci doesn't know what he's talking about. That guy's insane. Well, you've got to build this defense. So you want a new quarterback, that's great. What is he going to do when he's playing from behind by 2 or 3 touchdowns every game? You can't just plug a guy in. They need to rebuild the defense. You've got 4 guys, and John, you and I have talked about it. Like, let Gettleman put his stamp on it. Let him go draft a full defensive draft. Defensive ends, pass rushers, linebackers, cornerbacks, and have a badass, mean defense like the Ravens, like the Bears, like the old Giants. And then I don't care who you put at quarterback or what you do. But right now, like just being like, all right, we'll be okay on offense. Okay, we'll be okay on defense. It doesn't work. So I would like to think that Gettleman likes to hear himself talk a little bit. And, he's very conversational and he's good with the media.
And he doesn't say anything, though.
And he does, as I was saying, he doesn't say anything. So let's see what he does. Because here's the thing. I've watched everything that Jerry Reese did, and it sucked. Everything he did sucked when it came to the draft. He had a handful of good free agents, which is now the opposite of what we have now. Last year's draft was the best draft we've had since 2007. I think you guys will both agree with that. So if Gettleman can pull off another great draft and it's defensive heavy, I think the guy gets a little bit of rope. I think you got to give the guy a little bit of walking room. If he slams another great draft and he restocks the defense, I think he gets a little bit of rope because Jerry Reese got 11 years of rope, and we're on Gettleman like he sucks, like right out of the gate. So where I understand, Rob, you're a younger guy, like you want change right away. Remember, all those years, from 2007 to 2017 was all Jerry Reese, and they sucked purely because of Jerry Reese and Mark Ross. So Gettleman needs to get a little bit of room. It's not fair to compare the guys 1 year versus the other guys 11 years.
Well, let me jump in on that too. Don't get me wrong. I like Gettleman. I think his draft was incredible, and I, amongst many people, I predicted the first 3-4 rounds of the draft, and I'm not saying that to be egotistical. I'm just saying like he did exactly what I wanted, and I was so happy. You know what I mean? I loved it. What we know and what we all know is that Gettleman is known for drafts, not for free agency. So you have to be able to load up in the draft correctly and use these guys instead of just, you can't just rely on free agency because we don't have the money either. So I am 100% with that. He needs another really good draft to get more reins. I'm just saying, even if he has another great draft, I can't see them just being like, here's the keys. Mara is a very hands-off owner, but all he does is find a way to control it as well. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but he's very hands-off, but he finds a way to control the things that he shouldn't. You know what I'm trying to say? So I can't see them being like, good job, Gettleman. Good job. You have the reins. Put your stamp on it. Do what you want. It's like, nah, they'll still find a way to implement their old traditional style. And that's my problem. And I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys because, like I said, I'm younger. But I don't think that, he should just – you know what I'm saying? I don't think –
Yeah, I know. John's going to drop some knowledge on you about Sternfeld. I know it.
Yeah, no, hey, man, I want to hear it. I'm just saying, in my opinion – that's the problem, is that even if he continues to knock it out, they'll find things they don't like because he did something wrong that's not on the Giants standards. And that's my opinion. I may be completely off.
No.
That's just how I look at it.
No, it's understandable. We just got to give him a little bit of rope. That's all. I mean, if he doesn't draft a quarterback this year, and as you said you like Fromm, I like Fromm. I don't know how they do it, but I mean, here's the thing. If you want, I think he would excite the franchise. Is if he rebuilt this defense. I know it would be against everybody, like you said, they just want to reach and grab something new, right? I think you and I are both on the same page. What would be electrifying for the fan base if next year he did like whatever they pick, 6 or 16, if he did anything possible, if he pulled a Kansas City and they moved up for Mahomes, if he moved up for Fromm or Herbert, but Fromm specifically, that would electrify the fan base. I don't think the fan base is going to be electrified with Haskins or Murray. So
I think they're going to let themselves be electrified. That's the problem because they're all done with Eli now. I think I'll let you finish.
No, I just listen. Regardless if they get Haskins or Murray, it won't. I mean, what people just refuse, just flat out refuse to take into consideration is it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback right now. We can't compete from a defensive side of the game.
Right.
The Giants the defense. The defense was winning in the Eagles, Dallas, Colts, and Carolina game. The defense choked away 4 wins. So even with a quote-unquote serviceable quarterback, the team could have been 8-8, 9-7. And we all know when you get in the playoffs, anything can happen, right?
Right.
I mean, there's 12 teams that won the Super Bowl as a wild card. Okay, so I'm not saying that they were good enough to go that far. All I'm saying is if they don't restock the defense, it doesn't matter if it's Haskins or Murray. Those kids are going to get their ass blown up, and there's going to be 20 picks, tons of sacks, and a banged up quarterback. So, the defense is just as important as the offense, and everyone just wants change. If they do not go out and get a pass rusher and get a linebacker, it won't matter who's playing quarterback. You'll constantly be in the hole, and next year's a wash. And then it steamrolls into free agents come because they know the Giants are going to suck. Like, a lot hinges. Like you said, it's going to be a fun draft, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I don't want anyone to discount the fact that Gettleman knows that they need playmakers, regardless if they draft them or they sign them. If the defense cannot get into the top 15, they're still going to lose a bunch of games. Maybe that's the way you get to Fromm. You lose a bunch of games.
Well, Craig, what I think is attractive, man, and like I said, to completely back your point, this is 100% riding on your point. I think what's really attractive about this whole thing, one of my biggest problems with Jerry Reese was that if we had a guy that was worth a lot of money on our team, no matter what, that person was important and you protect them at all costs, right? That was kind of how he looked at it. He was like, look, if I invested money in you, you're eventually going to be worth it. And I think that was a big problem. Now with Gettleman, I think the most attractive thing that he could have done today was made it clear, regardless if it was him or not, but made it clear that, yes, Olivier Vernon's worth a lot of money, but he wasn't producing, and we need to move on. And I think that's really important to me because it shows that no matter how much you're worth, you're still the same worth as a guy that's working for $500K or for Vernon's contract. So it shows me he knows how to evaluate the stars and he knows who needs to be here and who doesn't. So that's where I back your point right there, is that he knows what he's doing, and I trust him. So it shows that he will get rid of someone, as you guys said, the hatchet guy, if no matter how much you're worth, if you're not producing, you're not producing. So I back your point there. I trust him. I trust what he's doing, and he's going to rebuild the team with guys that'll produce, regardless of how much you're worth. So
Yep.
I like that.
No, I'm with you. I just want – listen, I sit in the lower bowl. I've had season tickets in my family since '68. I sit in the lower bowl on the 25-yard line, and it's painful to watch, man. And if they can't compete from the defensive side, it's another year lost. It's literally like mailing it in for 2019. And I can't even remotely think about that.
Defense
John,
wins championships.
John, talk to me about the defense here.
Okay. We're gonna talk about that right now. I want to get into free agency, and I think we'll do one more show before then. But let me ask Rob, free agency, you're the Giants. You got 2 big ticket items, 2 big ticket players you could sign. Who are the 2 big ticket players?
So are we talking realistically, like who's going to be available?
Yeah,
Just in
realistically,
general?
and the 2 guys that I have in mind are not really going to cost them that much money, I don't think, but we'll see.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The 2 guys that I have in mind are Trey Flowers and Darrell Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are 2 guys that will come in and make impact right away.
Yeah, and I'm pretty much right there with you. One of mine's Darrell Williams, and the other one is Tyrann Mathieu for me.
Matthew too, yeah, but I think he'll cost. He might cost a little bit more than you think because I think a lot of teams will be bidding on him.
He'll be expensive, but that's my 2. And like I said, in my dream scenario, and that's why I asked this question because he won't be available, but would be D Ford. It would be D Ford and Darrell Williams.
He's probably going to sign back with Kansas City. I don't know if they used the franchise tag on him yet. I don't think so.
Well, he's
they didn't, but he's not an egotistical person, and this is how I just view it. And he said he'd be happy to come back and he wants to be there. So if it's the tag or a contract, he'll play. So he's going to come back.
Where would
period.
he play
He's
on the
going
Giants if they signed him?
I think he'd be more of a defensive end than an outside linebacker.
You think he'd have his hand in the dirt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's hear Craig. I mean, what do you think, Craig? Who would be your top? Curious.
Well, I mean, so I like. It's tough because I like KJ Knight from Seattle.
TJ, he didn't play last year, did he?
No, wait, he got hurt, but
do you mean KJ Wright? Is that
KJ Wright? KJ.
What did I say?
KJ
Yeah,
Wright.
sorry.
You said TJ Knight, my guy.
TJ Knight. Yeah.
Who the hell is that?
Well, I know who he means.
I'm like, what am I? Yeah, I'm like, what am I talking about here? But you know what it was?
I had to do it.
No, it's all good. You guys were talking, and I was looking something up, so you caught me off guard. What do you call it? He had 2018 was a down year because of injuries, but he's a tackling machine. And if and I constantly have this Collins thing on my mind. If Collins isn't here, who can tackle? Because Riley can't tackle. Ogletree has his moments, but if you look at his statistics, he's not a great tackling inside linebacker. Goodson's made of glass, so I'm potentially looking there. Ayupati's a little bit long in the tooth.
He's too old. They're not going to sign him.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'd really like to make sure that they sign Brown again. I know people are hot and cold with that, but I do look at like the offense. Literally, Barkley stopped bouncing the ball outside when Brown got there. Like, it went from hey, here's a rookie trying to bounce outside to running between the tackles. So I'd like them to re-sign Brown. I definitely think that makes a difference. And I think you're also right that he's going to go back. What do you call it's going to go back to KC? I don't think you got a shot at it.
Yeah, I think he's pretty much locked in there. You still got a couple of days for people to tag some of these guys if they don't sign. If the guys that are going to go to unrestricted free agency, you don't want to get involved in that. Especially if like a guy like D Ford had a really good year. He's had a pretty good career so far, and he's got a lot of upside. So if I'm Kansas City, Kansas City has a lot of players that are going to be due contracts are coming up. So I don't know what they'll do with them. Sometimes they just let these guys walk. If they do, the Giants should be interested. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm with it. I just didn't want to cut you off.
But Darren Williams is the first guy. So I need a right tackle.
Him or Jawan James should be the top two.
I need
Jalen Mills even for a discount.
I need a right tackle. I mean, Chad Wheeler is not doing it.
I'll tell you two sleepers that I got on the outside. All right, I really like Frank Clark. See, this is what
I don't think he's going to be available. I think he's going to get tagged.
Think he's gonna be available either.
I mean, the guy's got 32 sacks in 3 years. He's still young. I like Frank Clark.
I like him too.
And now here's here's my sleeper a little bit. Again, he's not super young, but it's Conti, the free safety, because he's 30, but I mean I don't know. He finishes off every contract that he's had.
Yeah.
I think he's never been cut. I think he makes a difference, back there if Collins is there or not. He's a good free safety. I think that could be a play because he's not going to cost too much.
No.
And if you look at the free safety market, you've got Matthew and you got Dix. I think Conti's a better move.
What about Amos from Chicago?
I like him. I like him too. I thought they would bring him back.
I love him.
Yeah, I didn't think they'd. But I just thought Chicago would bring him back.
Well, can I give you all a sleeper too? This is one of my top sleepers this year, and he's like the top of the list. Would be from the Baltimore Ravens, Darius Smith. Keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on him. He is one of my top sleepers, if not the top sleeper for a lot of teams, and for us and for a lot of teams. I think he'll be really good. And this year, keep in mind, the free safety market is actually pretty stocked. You got Kenny Vaccaro. You got, you can say Landon Collins, but no. Safety in general. Landon Collins, Kenny Vaccaro. You You got HaHa Clinton Dix, Tyrann Mathieu. There's a lot of names. Chris Conti. There's a lot of names. And I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong here. But didn't Conti play under Gettleman at one point? Or am I wrong? I might be wrong.
No,
I thought he did.
I gotta look that up now because I'm a big fan of Conti just because he's a guy who finishes his contract. He never gets cut. He plays every game. He doesn't get hurt. Just something about Conti's game I really like. I think he'd fit in good.
I thought for sure you played under Gettleman. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping.
I'm looking it up.
I might be completely wrong. I just thought maybe I'm thinking of no, you know what? I think I'm tripping. I'm thinking of the guy that went over to New Orleans, Kurt Coleman. Sorry, I was wrong. Don't even worry about that.
I think Conti was with Tampa Bay, you know?
Yeah, he was with Tampa Bay. I was thinking of Kurt Coleman. Sorry.
It's all right.
So, there's 32 converging philosophies in this league. And you don't know one man's gold is another man's garbage, so you really never know who's going to be available and at what price and what teams think about guys, especially at the draft. We've seen guys drop in the draft. You see Laramie Tunsil, boom, right? He should have been the first player picked.
Yeah, and he dropped like a freaking tank, and we still should have taken him.
He
that's the Giants mentality I told you about.
And I think he's doing pretty well now, right?
Yeah, he's solid. I mean, they're moving him around the line like he's chunk change, but yeah, they'll find a spot for him.
Yeah, I think he's turned out to be a pretty good lineman. Well, Miami is not the best place for anybody to go.
Dumpster fire. Yeah. Drew Lock would fit right in.
Yeah, so they'll probably end up with him.
Yeah, throw him in. He would fit.
So the Giants changed some coaches. Some guys left. Some of the secondary guys left. And they just hired a new guy. I never even heard of the guy. I don't even know his name.
The DB coach?
Yes.
He came from Boston College.
Okay.
I think people weren't happy. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a good hire. Off season for the coaches.
No, not so
a couple
far.
of guys left. And when you have defections, they weren't lateral moves, though. They got promotions in some cases. So that's okay, I guess.
Everett Withers,
yeah.
Everett Withers. Yeah, the best move that they can make, in my opinion, is just so random. But if they made Lawrence Taylor a linebacker coach, like DeMarcus Ware did for the Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, you're never going to make that happen, but you could easily get Jesse Armstead to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, Jesse Armstead already works for the team. You're not going to get Lawrence Taylor to coach anybody.
He works with the Giants, so that's why I mean he's literally in the building like every other day. So
Who's that?
Throw it at him. Lawrence Taylor, he's with the Giants all the time.
He's usually, from my knowledge, he's usually in Florida playing golf.
Well, you know more than me, but I see all the time that he's with the Giants somewhere, somehow, and he's always tweeting about him and talking about him.
Yeah, it's a lot of PR right there.
Yeah, I don't think he's in New Jersey that often.
You know more than me, man. Hey, you take it away there.
I just thought that he was with them and let me tell you something. You don't really want him around your young players.
Yeah,
not in this NFL. We'd be like, look, go hit the quarterback in the head as hard as you can.
He is as old school as they come. I mean, he's got
to hit him in the head.
He's got to be watching these games, saying, "Man, what happened to the football that I used to know and love?"
Oh yeah, the NFL is destroyed. That's why the XFL and the AAF are taking charge here, and that's why the NFL today admitted that they're looking into a sky judge because it works.
Yeah, there's always new ideas coming out of these experimental leagues. Because if you go to the competition committee with something in this league, you really have to lobby to get something changed. And I don't believe in looking at penalties on replay, reviewing penalties on replay. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Reid, I personally I agree with that. I think it should have been done a long time ago. And then Andy Reid today proposed a change to be where OT, both teams get possession no matter what. So they're trying new things. So we'll see.
Yeah, but, it's the progressive guys, like Belichick sees a rule that he knows he can exploit and he tries to get it pushed through. If you ever look at all the proposals, the two teams that propose the most rule changes are the Patriots and the Redskins.
And the Redskins,
I don't know why the Redskins do, but I know why the Patriots do.
Because they lose all the time.
Yeah.
I would have said Patriots and Chiefs. I'm actually surprised.
Well, no, the Redskins, for some reason, always want to change some kind of rule. I have no idea and it's different, general managers and so forth down there over the past decade. But the Patriots every year have 2 or 3 suggestions.
They're a mess.
And
The Redskins are a mess.
Yeah, they've got problems. Injuries didn't help them. But it was the moving the PAT back was Belichick's idea, because he knows his kicker can make it no matter where it's from. If it's from 50 yards, he can make it. So he doesn't care about that.
That's a good point. You know what I mean? It isn't. You bring up good point. I mean, it is funny, like you guys said, just a little bit. You can tell, you know what I mean, the difference in mentalities. You know, I am a young guy. You know what I mean? I look at a lot of these these new things and the modern things that y'all would be like, what are you talking about, man? So that is cool.
Just watch a Patriots game, and you'll see Belichick talking to the refs. He pretty much
makes it work.
Convinces them to call the game the way he wants them to call it.
Oh, yeah. No. He's a snake.
By saying things like, we discussed that at the league meeting, we're going to change that rule and whatever. He says, you know what, we really have to watch this and watch that. And, if you ever have 12 men on the field, he's the first guy to ever see it. He doesn't miss anything, that guy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's raised by the Giants. That's why he loves us.
He doesn't miss anything. He's incredible. And, I always get the minutes from the competition committee. And John Mara's on it, of course. He always, he's always open to everything, but he never votes for anything. And then you have guys like, Sean Payton, who wants to change everything too. So,
I would too.
And Mike Tomlin.
Payton, I'm pissed.
I think Mike Tomlin is the other coach.
Yeah, Sean Payton. I think that's why one big reason why the NFL needs to be able to review penalties. I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, you can't review a non-call. That's the one problem that I had with this big argument.
The game would be 6 hours long.
Well, you can't say you should have called that penalty. If it's pass interference or something like that, a judgment call. Now, if you want to challenge if a guy was offsides, you could definitely challenge that. That's a spot rule.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe they should just let the players play and stop being so ticky-tack.
I guess. But, that was a flagrant penalty in that Saints-Rams game. And, people were upset, and they said they should do something about it. But, what you should do, get a better referee. How's that?
Yeah, or a sky judge. I'm behind that. I don't know how y'all feel about it.
No, I agree. I think that would be a good idea. Anything to make the game better.
Well, especially when it changes the entire outcome of the game.
Right.
Well,
I'm tired of these ticky-tack penalties where, okay, I need a penalty, I need a first down, I'll throw a bomb, it'll be pass interference. It's like it's a given. It's like a foul in basketball.
Well,
give me a break.
That's my point. And I want to talk to Rob about this. If you are inside the 10-yard line, okay, I believe the rules of contact should change because there's less field and more bodies. So you should allow for a little bit more contact.
Yeah, let them play. I agree.
Okay, if the ball is snapped inside the 10-yard line, that's my opinion, you should allow a little more clutching and grabbing.
I agree with that.
Okay, if you have a lot of field behind you, you can't clutch and grab. All right,
I'm with that.
So I think the rules of contact, the rules of engagement have to change because look at what happens. Guys are going to run into each other just by incidental contact.
I just got a call from Clay Matthews, and he said, can we work on the incidental hitting on calls on the quarterback?
No, they
dude,
cannot.
Don't even get me started on that.
They cannot.
Don't even.
Yeah, so Clay Matthews is listening to the show, and he wanted us just to, address the fact that you can't hit QBs anymore, and it's a joke.
Well, he got screwed twice. At least. Right?
At least, yeah.
So, to me, the officials have to understand intent also. He wasn't trying to hit the quarterback the way it ended up.
It's just not the game, man. Give me a break. It's football. There's going to be contact. And you can tell, as you just alluded to, you can tell when a guy's trying to rip your head off. And when he's making a football play, whether his weight comes down on you or not, just the whole thing just changes the outcome of the game. It's like
Yeah.
what are we playing? Flag football here?
Well, it's just not that, Craig. They get a penalty, and you get fined.
Yeah.
You're going to get a
it's
fine,
terrible.
too, on top of that. And, he may not have gotten the fine if he didn't get the penalty because maybe they wouldn't have seen it that way. There's a lot of times there's no penalty and you get fined.
And the callers are so subjective.
Yeah. What happens is during the game, teams will review the tapes, and they will submit it to the league. Check this play out. Find this guy. Find that guy. And our friend Vernon gets a couple every year. You know that.
Well, it's because he can't do anything else.
Yeah.
Because he can't do anything right.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, on a side note, we were talking about Foles before, and I'm just going to rip through this real quick. Jacksonville, Miami, Washington, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Raiders, Bengals, Giants. Those are the rumorville of where Foles would go if he was going to go somewhere.
it's a big list. Well, there you go. Yeah.
What do you say,
Quite the
Tampa
list.
Bay? Why is he going to Tampa Bay?
Maybe because Winston's done.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because Arians is there now. What was the other team you mentioned?
Miami.
That doesn't need a quarterback?
That doesn't need a quarterback? Carolina.
Why in the world would they want Foles?
Not really sure.
They've got Cam Newton for till 2050.
Jeez, man. Yeah, it's quite the list.
I don't understand that at all. That's a stupid list as far as I'm concerned. The Giants aren't even on it. And that's the team he wants to play
for. Yeah, the Giants were the last team.
That's the team he wants to play for.
Right.
I thought he would be.
Crazy,
According to Tony Pauline, I don't know if you know Tony. He used to Draft Network or whatever, Draft Scout or whatever he calls himself. He used to work for SNY. I sat next to him at the draft a couple of times. He in the NBC section there. We were all together. John Norris from Roto World, me, Tony, and a few other guys. And Tony's pretty good at, and when he gets information, it's usually spot on. And he's been saying that Foles wants to play for the Giants, and the Giants will be interested if he's an unrestricted free agent. So I should have started the show with that.
I heard that a while back, and then I tweeted it, and people came after me. They're like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, all right, it's fine. You got it.
Yeah, Tony wouldn't put something on Twitter unless he really felt it was true.
I think the best spot for him would be the Redskins because they need a quarterback.
Yeah, and he's in the division. And
he drive right down the turnpike.
But, the best spot for him is with Pat Shermer. But, the Giants are never going to cut the cord with Eli until they absolutely have to. And as far as they should have pulled the cord 2 years ago. I think Rob is right. McAdoo had the right idea, but the wrong approach.
I think everything McAdoo approached was the wrong way.
Yeah, he has the wrong approach with everything. But he should have went to management and said, look, I want to try to put in another quarterback. He should have put Davis Webb in. No one would have had a problem with that.
Right.
And, Webb would have sucked, and then they would have put Manning in the next week. Why the hell did they put in Geno Smith? That was insult to injury. To put a Jets failed quarterback in there. That was the problem. And although Smith didn't play a bad game, I think it was against Oakland. He played a pretty good game. They had a chance in that game.
The NFL just released a statement from Haskins saying that he'd like to play for the Giants. It would be a dream come true.
Well, why wouldn't he?
Yeah, I know. That's yeah. He grew up a Giants fan, so he's going to be putting it down.
All right. Like I said, draft this guy, but buyer beware. Caveat emptor. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's wrap it up because it's almost an hour and a half, and I'm sure our listeners are enthralled at the edge of their seat.
Come on, man. It's the Giants guys. Everybody loves the Giants guys.
And, it's getting late here in the day in New York, and, I have to eat, So, Craig, why don't you give your call numbers or call URL?
You can find me on Twitter at NYGiantsRush. I'm always willing to have a conversation with anyone, as Rob can attest to.
Yes, sir.
And then, of course, you can find great content on nygiantsrush.com. We got draft stuff up there, free agent stuff up there. I got about 7 guys, cranking out good content. And, of course, you can find us right here at the Giants Guys.
Yes, sir.
Rob, what about your do you have a website now?
No, I don't. You can find me on everything NYG on Twitter, and you know where it is. You know where to find me, and I'd love to come back as soon as possible. And if you ever need someone to write for you, you know where to find me.
I was going to say, Rob, you're more than welcome. Anytime you want to write something, send it to me. We'll put it on NY Giants Rush anytime you want.
Giants
Great, man.
Rush is the
I appreciate that.
place
I'm
to
more
be.
than interested. Yeah, it is. I love it. I go on your site all the time, man. So I appreciate you guys bringing me on here, and it's been an honor. I appreciate it, and I'd love to come back.
And we'll have another show before March 13th, which is the NFL new season and free agency. So,
Perfect.
like we said, this offseason gets done in stages. It's free agency first, and then the draft. So one thing kind of hinges on the other. So that'll be next week. And I want to thank everybody for listening again to the Giants, guys.
Perfect.
Take care.
Thank you guys for having me, man.
You got it.